G'day, this is Adam VA from AVA Magnetic Levitation Australia, doing another Mighty Micro RC car mods video. This video is called The World's Fastest Bolt Part 2. Basically, from the video I did before, the first one, Part 1, I've modified the car a little bit more since then, and modified it also to hit a higher top speed. In this video, I'm hoping to hit 45 to 46 kilometers an hour. I've already done some pre-testing, some drag runs with this car, but today's the day I actually go and do the final testing or the final high-speed runs for this video. So I thought I'd quickly film it now in case something goes wrong with the car and it gets badly damaged. Basically, I'm keen to get out there and do the runs, so all I'll say for now is if you like what you see in these videos, please share, subscribe, spread. Look at the description or the bit at the end of the video, send a small donation, or second-hand RC cars this size or smaller, or brand new RC cars this size or smaller. And we'll modify them, show you how, and basically put you up on the YouTube and thank you for it. You will probably never get the car back, but surprise you pay sometimes to find out. So I won't say any more. I'm basically going to get going now and go and test this thing out and see what happens next. So before I show you the footage of the World's Fastest Bolt Part 2, I'll just explain quickly what happened when I went out then to get a little bit of final footage and hopefully some clear high-speed runs for speed confirmation. This is the result of what's called a runaway car. Basically what happened was, in my haste to get everything ready and out in such a hurry, I didn't check the controller to see if the batteries were actually even in it. So I stripped out batteries from my Atomic Racer controllers. Unfortunately, for those batteries, the lithium ions, they were rechargeables with normal NiCads or whatever. You should never ever do this. Basically, I got a weak signal. I did crash the car. There's no big hardship. I do have parts. I can rebuild the car. No other real major damage on the car that I can tell so far. Basically just got banged up pretty bad, and anything that was sort of hanging off it got broken off it. So anyway, that's what can happen. It's no big deal. That was actually quite funny. So there you have it, RPM test. Basically all I do is I've got a very low, inexpensive RPM tester which works with a laser pointer, and it comes with this tape which I jam into the wheel. It's a very simple process. You basically just line it up, hit the throttle, look at the meter and see what you get. So you've got your RPM, and why do you do an RPM test like this? Generally I do them, and most people that do high-speed cars, they'll either have a telemetry test or something to do with point-to-point system where it works out how fast the car's going. I'm trying to do it like in the video you've just seen. I do it between 2 points where I basically count the seconds between 5 meters to give me a rough idea of speed, or a fairly accurate idea of the speed the car's doing at the time. When I'm building the cars to know what sort of speeds I'm actually getting to, I do one of these RPM tests off the back wheels. So when you do an RPM test like this, you've basically come up with an RPM. You know how fast the wheel's rotating. So by knowing the diameter of the wheel, there's a very basic calculation which you can do, which will actually tell you your expected top speed. Of course, what top speed you get, the car may not actually do. There may be wind resistance, friction resistance, wheel resistance problems here and there, which may drop that by a small percentage or a fraction, depending on how far you've geared the car, of course. As long as the motor's trying to rev or get almost close to its full revs, you'll generally find you'll be getting pretty much close to the speed that you get from an RPM wheel test. When you start pushing the limits a bit though, and you get into higher gear ratios, you'll find that your real test is on the road, basically. So anyway, I know for a fact that these cars, or this sort of setup, it is actually hitting its full RPMs thereabouts. So I'm pretty confident in saying that I'm losing maybe a small percentage, like 3% or something, off the RPMs that you see on the meter there. So that being said, I'll show a calculation on the screen now, and the calculation you see before you is basically how to work out your RPM tests. Basically you get the rear wheel diameter times pi, so you take the diameter of the wheel times pi, which gives you the circumference, which is how much distance the wheel has to travel once to get back around. And then we times that circumference by the RPMs, and then we time that number by 60, and then we divide that number by 1 million. And when we go through those numbers and that, the end figure we get is in kilometers per hour. And this car worked out with the number that you see on the screen now. So that's basically one of the aspects of the micro RC car stuff when you're going fast or when you're pushing the limits and that. It's always got to do rough tests and that so that you're not kidding yourself when you get out on the road to try and hit a speed. So that being said, it's still pointless doing an RPM test unless you do some sort of confirmation on the road. I hope you like what you saw in this video. As usual, share, subscribe, spread. Sorry the tech talk's a bit short in this one, not a lot of time, so unfortunately, next video will uncover a bit more of the mysteries in this car. And what I might do, because it needs to be rebuilt anyway, I might strip it apart and rebuild it and try and film the process. That might be interesting to some people. Don't get me wrong, this is a car that's still around. They're very cheap. It's sort of a semi-obsolete model, really. I mean, you'll still buy them and you'll still buy generics of it. But I think the HPI Racing, the Q32 or something like that, I'd much rather get my hands on one of them and try and push one of them through the limits. Much better quality stuff and much more options in the parts on the shelf, unlike these things which are bought out of the box, and you get spare parts by tearing the one apart you broke for the next one that you buy. Okay, so this is Adam VA from AVA Magnetic Levitation doing another Mighty Micro RC Car Mods video. This car will be back. I don't know how fast it's going to go, but I've got a funny feeling I might try and put a high gear ratio in it and larger gears, and maybe even some bushes or bearings, and we can see if we can try and push that 60k plus limit. Hope to see you next time. Bye.